كل شيء، وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء، وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء، يا نور يا قدوس، يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحتك العصم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء، اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك، واستشفع بك إلى نفسك، وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك، وأن توزعني شكرك، وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع، أن تسامحني وترحمني، وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا، وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت طاقته، وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته، وعدم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عدم سلطانك، وعلى مكانك، وخفي مكرك، وظهر أمرك، وغلب قهرك، وجرت قدرتك، ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا، ولا لقبائه ساترا، ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت، سبحانك وبحمدك. سلمت نفسي وتجرعت بجحلي، وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي، كم من قبيح سترت، وكم من فاده من البلاء أقلت، وكم من عثار وقيت، وكم من مكروه دفعت، وكم من ثناء جميل لست أحلى له نشرت. اللهم عدم بلائي، وافرط بي سوء حالي، وقصرت بي أعمالي، وقعدت بي أغلالي، وهبسني عن نفع بعد آمالي، وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها، ونفسي بجنايتها ومثالي. يا سيدي، فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي، ولا تفذهني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي، ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي، وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي، من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي، أجريت علي حكم اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي، ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي، فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك، وخالفت بعد أوامرك. فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك، والزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي، معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ذري وفكني من شدي وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عزمي. يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي هبني لابتداء كرمك والسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد ما أنطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت أو تبعد من أدنيت أو تشرد من آويت أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمت. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادها وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا وعلى ضمائر هوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارها سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طاععا وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا. ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب. وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليلا من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكسوه كثير بقاؤه قصير مدته. فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أدج وأبكي ليلي من عذابي وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته. فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي. صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك وهبني صبرت على هر نارك. فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجاء عفوك. فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم الصادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأذجن إليك بين أهلها ذجيج الآملين ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين. ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وضاق تعمى عذابها بمعصيته، وهبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يدج إليك دجيج معمل لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك، ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ أم كيف تعلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانا؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفا؟ أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقا؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها؟ هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك، ولا المعروف من فضلك، ولا مشبه لما عملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهديك، وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك، فجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدعا وتطولت بالأنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يسمعون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي هدمتها وهكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمت، وكل ذنب أذنبت، وكل قبيح أسررت، وكل جهل عملت، كتمته أو أعلنت، أخفيته أو أظهرت، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جواره، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير تنزل أو إحسان تفضل أو بر تنشر أو رزق تبسط أو ذنب تغفر أو خطأ تستر. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رزقي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بذري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعدم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورا، وبخدمتك موصولا، وأعمالي عندك مقبولا، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها هدى، وهالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أهوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قو على خدمتك جواره، واشد على العزيمة جوانه، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك، والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرها إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في المبادرين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد، ومن كادني فكد، واجعل لي من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجد لي بجودك، واعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك مطيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وذمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني منايا، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي. يا سريع الرضا، اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يا من اسمه دواء، وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غناء، يرفع ما بها الرجاء، وسلاهه البكاء. يا سابغ النعم، يا دافع النقم، يا نور المستوهشين في الظلام، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بي ما أنت أهله. وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله، وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thanks a lot, Kamal. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وبه نستعين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى Muhammad. Thank you again all for joining us this evening in our regular Thursday night program, where we usually begin with the recitation of the famous supplication of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, Dua Kumail, recited by our brother Kumail this evening. As most of you know, alhamdulillah, today, in light of everything that's happening and going on across the nation and really across the world, the police brutality that we saw about 10 days ago, and as we continue to see over the last 10 days, in addition to sort of the manifestations of systemic racism sort of plaguing our society, since COVID began, where it's become a little bit more exemplified, but again, something that's historically rooted in this country and in all different parts of the world. I thought it would be really great if we had a very open conversation whereby we get some insight and get some advice from one of my really close and dear friends, Brother Jihad, who graciously joined us this evening. For those of you who don't know, I'll let Jihad talk a little bit about himself. But he has done so much incredible work in the community locally over the last several years. Currently works for Islamic Relief. And when I came back from studying in the Islamic seminary in Iraq in 2014, one of our mutual friends reached out to me and told me that you need to like get in touch with Jihad. So I said, "Who's this guy? Like, I don't know who he is." And she told me that you need to talk to Jihad because he's going to be able to brief you and give you insight on matters in the community that are going to be impactful for you for a really long time. And me coming fresh sort of out of the seminary, I just thought I was going to be like reading all these books behind me, leading prayers once in a while, doing some talks. And little did I know that I would need Jihad so much over the last several years. And every time we've had conversations, he's consistently, shed light on a whole host of different issues. All those books behind him, he probably has read every single one of them backwards, because every time we have a conversation, he'll quote the conversation yesterday. Jihad, I was just thinking about it, and we talked for probably about 45 minutes, and I think you gave me about 25 book recommendations, which is pretty crazy. Jihad, thanks for joining us, man.
It's good to be with you, brother. I'm sad that it has to take such unsettling times and situations for us to actually get to spend time with each other. Even though we're 200 miles apart, but it's always exciting to you. And that person, I believe Sister Zahra's on, who did connect us, I want to thank her for that. She has always been a great aid and advisor to me as when I'm here in the DC bubble. Far from, unfortunately, real communities, people are out there striving at the community level to understand who's doing the real work, who's out there actually touching lives, building communities, and improving relationships. Hopefully, in the cause of social justice. I want to thank her. She's got street cred, especially in the New Jersey, New York region. And I remember when she first connected me to you, and it's been a continuing blessing. So I want to thank her and her network of friends and family. But it's good to be with you. And everyone who's joined us tonight on this call. And I did actually send this out. First, can people hear me clearly?
Yeah.
I did share this. Often people see something with Bill or Sheikh Chakra, myself. This is a Shiite program. But that's Jihad, because this is an issue of the Faiyaz community, or communities, I'll say that. But I've been it for clear friends and allies within Islam, or in humanity, who's trying to thank you for coming. I hope you had the benefit of hearing the Quran, which has been, I'll say, a blessing for us for 1,400 years, every Thursday night. For those who do not know, the most recited dua consistently, or long-term dua, the supplication of the oppressed. Thank you for joining. I hope you make it part of your practice. As many of us and those who are loved, I hope they make it part of our practice. So I'm going to go shopping with you as best as I can, as I'm still myself recovering, trying to do some self-care during this time. And you should also be doing, try to do some self-care. Again, these continuing times, these unjust times, these times of panic, it is very much, but I think it is these gatherings that we're having now, as Muslims, I would say first and foremost, as Muslims, which gives us care. Last time I was on it, I stayed with you yesterday, then I spoke to yesterday a group of youth, mainly Hojas, who were very, for those who are not Shia, the Hojas are kind of very prominent in the South Asian community, in the Shia community. I spoke to them about some of what's going on in the United States, and if anyone's watching right now and they see I'm speaking and they want to shoot me a text, like, hey, I see you, Jihad, wait till after the program, please. My phone is blowing up. It happened last night. Everybody wanted to friend me on Facebook all at the same time. But I just want to say that, for many of us, especially those who are not out,
who've at least had the luxury or the social position to work at home, and who maybe don't have family, I've been in my apartment working here in Washington, D.C., less than a mile from the U.S. Capitol, for almost 10 weeks, and I've had no physical contact. I have not shaken the hand of a believer or a friend or a fellow human in 10 weeks. I have not hugged or embraced. me. Not even my mom, who's in Los Angeles, or a close friend. So I just want to quick out and really give a quick hug.
Thanks a lot, man.
To everyone out there. And this is the best that we can get, but it is the comfort of being amongst the believers, amongst the Muslims right now, that does help give me recharge and some comfort right now, even though we are going to discuss a very critical issue, which still gives me some type of, which I will have to recover after a little bit, after I get off this call. But I know it's important that it be done. And I'm here. I want to first and foremost say that, one, I am right now speaking on behalf of myself. I'm speaking as Jihad F. Saleh. I'm not speaking upon an organization that I'm so well known and associated with, and that I love, and it pays me to do the work that I would want to do, even if, it wasn't being paid to be a human rights advocate and being a lobbyist, and very much honestly, unfortunately, being one of the few Muslims on Capitol Hill speaking on issues of justice around poverty, hunger, homelessness from a Muslim paradigm. Islamic relief, I'll say it is, but tonight I'm speaking on my own behalf, not Islamic relief, but at the same time, I strive hard in my humanitarian spirit and concerns to not deviate, or there is very little light between us two, but there may be a few matters tonight that I speak that's beyond that mission, that I don't want it to be, don't get it twisted. So let's be clear of who I'm speaking of. And tonight also, right now, I want to be clear. I'm speaking two things, as a Muslim, as a Shia, as a left Ahl Bayt, and there should be they're all the same to me. And I'm speaking as a little bit just as a profession, as a advocate, a lobbyist, and a grassroots organizer. I'm hesitant to say that I'm here to speak as a black man. I can't separate that, but I want to say the reason why. And I want those of you who are listening tonight to understand why I say that. It is hard right now, just if I just center that and only that and think of my family and my friends, whether they're in Los Angeles or my black friends and family, yes, I am black. I'm very light skinned. For those who don't know, I identify as black. That is my family. That is my tradition. That is my grounding. Before I even became Muslim. It is hard right now to take on the weight of so much in our community, the Muslim community at large, and in the Shia community in particular, as so many just in the last 2 weeks are reaching out saying Jihad, or Sheikh Hussein al-Makki, or Sheikh, Osama Abdul Ghani, or many of the handful of African-American Shia who live in our society, and those who are way more learned than me, at least textually, to call on and say, we want you to center black Shia voices in our centers, or to talk to us about how to be allies and how to guide us. No doubt there will be a time and place for that. Unfortunately, it should have been years ago. But at this moment, this close to so many tragedies, so many murders, so much, I don't know when to turn off the TV sometimes. We're constantly being re-traumatized as we look at Brother George, or look at that video up to the very last moment before we know what's happening with that shotgun in the hand of Brother Ahmad, or other folks in Louisville, anywhere, just senseless murders, and particularly in the sense of state violence, of police murdering black people with no impunity. It's hard for me right now sometimes to gather my thoughts to even to speak coherently. So right now I'm trying to say, let me call upon my ability as an advocate, where I'm trained to speak publicly to social justice communities and to give guidance, or the obligation, at least as Shia, saying, well, what are we to do as Shia to do this? And as Muslims, these are ways I have to kind of trifurcate myself right now to be able to even have coherence. Because also you got to understand, from as black people, as black Muslims, as human beings, we're trying to do with some self-care right now. And you have to understand, you may want us to speak, and there's going to be a great event this Saturday night with Sheikh, al-Makki, and Sheikh, Abdul Ghani, and our good brother, who I haven't seen in so long, Sheikh Hisham al-Adawin. These people have been doing it for years, and we should tune in. But just remember, be cognizant that we're still struggling right now to even think through these lecture topics, formulating discussions. When we're just trying to do self-care and to maintain, and many of us, it's like we're just not ready even to even speak to the community as we're trying to formulate how we feel, how we're taking care of our families, how we're speaking to our own children about these issues. So not only have been Black people and brown people being oppressed, being dominated, being subjugated, being denigrated, and murdered to prompt people to want to be in compassion, but then you're also asking us to even then to guide you as we are the ones who are being beaten down. This dual obligation that's constantly thrown into Black people of, you go ahead, you catch the hell, and then you also be the moral and ethical leaders to teach us back to how to be better. That's a great weight. And I'm sure even we know the imams did this, but these are the masoom who did this. I'm not masoom. I'm not divinely guided like that. So one, that's what we're struggling with. And then two, last, I will say, let no one be confused. Don't get it twisted. And I don't believe it's anyone on this call. I don't think it's anyone on this video. And I don't think it'll be anyone on the video that I've had from last week with Sheikh Hassan Abdul Karim, or even with Sheikh Abdul Ghani and them who was speaking this Sunday night, and many more events. Don't anyone get it twisted. If we're saying we're speaking to you centering our Blackness, that by you joining in and listening once or twice or maybe signing one petition, khalas, then you're done with it. No, do not take my statement to you today as you've done your part as to be an ally, and you marked off the box and moved on. So again, I know no one's like that on this call. But as you're framing and thinking about how you want to be an ally, how you want to stand with Black lives, as you want to stand and learn from Black Shia in our communities, and you want us to come and help you, we will do that. But give us a little time. But also, we were born through struggle coming through the womb. We will live in struggle and jihad. And if we are so blessed, we will die in struggle. That's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, we do have to take time for spiritual care, prayers, hugging, talking also the good things in life and uplifting them. But I'm glad that there is right now, particularly in the Shia community. For our Sunni communities, maybe these discussions have been more a couple of years ahead of us in some ways. But I'm not saying all. There's uneven development there. But I know that's why I'm here, because I know in our own Shia community that sometimes there is a lag time in how we address these issues and even understand racial and class and gender biases and oppressions, and that have been hopefully in many ways been facilitated more by the larger African American Black experience, which is larger a Sunni experience. We'll get there, and there's my application, and I am here to do that. But understand at this moment, and probably for the next couple of days or so, what we're dealing with, please give us a little compassion and give us a little leeway in how coherent we are. So let's, Sheikh Jafar, please.
Thank you, Jihad. And thank you for joining us. I told you yesterday, I know that you're so busy, and really, I'm really grateful, and thanks for sharing your words and your introduction. And also, I apologize on behalf of myself and everyone in the larger community. We need your leadership, and we certainly appreciate it during these days and these times that you're able to give light of everything that you're dealing with. And if there's any deficiency on my part, please forgive me.
Oh, brother, no, never. When you called and said to do this, hey, I know you. Look, if people don't know, look, Faiyaz Jafar, Sheikh Jafar is an ally, but he's a wise ally. He knows he's not to try to dominate space, and he knows to give space for those who know or who can better censor. But Sheikh, you've always opened up your platform to take space, and even then, look, I mean, Sheikh Jafar, the great work you're doing at NYU along with Imam Khalid and so forth, is setting new paradigms, new practices of Sunni and Shia unity and on college campuses. No one denies that. We recognize that. I'm proud of that. I'm proud to know that you're there. And then two, when you spoke on Believers Bailout, now, Believers Bailout is not a Black Muslim issue. It's not a Black thing. It should be a Muslim thing. When you and our good brother Hussein Rashid, from our Ismaili brothers, spoke that day along with Sister Sawad Abu Kabir and so many others, you held it down and you represented well on how you're trying to frame the issues of social justice from this Jafariya, from the Ahl Bayt perspective, again, which is a meaningful and a mercy to all Muslims and all humanity. So you've done it. And even I see my brother Sultan Diego, who's on the call right now. If y'all don't know who Sultan Diego is, Sultan is our brother, Shia brother, just graduated from the Mecca, Howard University. What other university in America is called the Mecca? It's a black university, a HBCU. That's our university. But Sultan Diego, he's now the MSA emeritus president. But he worked out and said he worked with our good sister, chaplain Nisa Muhammad, our good sister, who's out of the nation, but she's a co-chaplain at Howard University. And he said, I want to bring a Shia alim to come and give the Friday Jummah prayer, because we've had Nation of Islam ministers come, we've had Sunni sheikhs, but Howard is open to everyone. And sister, Nisa said, that's right, we're going to have one. And she said, Jihad, who do we bring? I said, let's bring Faiyaz Jaffer, because he's just 200 miles up the road, and he's already a chaplain, and he wants to center black voices. He wants to be an ally, and you came. You made time to come and be there. So again, that's not everything that needs to be done, but you've always been a radically empathetic, not just to black people, but black, brown, women, so forth. You are an example. You are a model of us in all our imperfections. You are understanding you get it right. So I thank you for calling me. So when you said, Jihad, you want me to get on the call? I'm like, hey, brother, you say it, I'm there.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And really, really, in all honesty, take your lead in a lot of these things. So, Jihad, let me ask you to sort of get the conversation rolling, since something you mentioned so many a time now in the last couple of minutes of your introduction and so on. Where do we go from here in terms of, number one, utilizing our spiritual tradition, utilizing our religion, utilizing our faith practice to being people who are difference makers in our community right now in light of everything that we're seeing around us? How do we utilize our religion, our spirituality, teachings of the Quran, the Prophet, Ahl Bayt, to make meaning of everything that's happening? Or how do you do that as an individual?
Alhamdulillah. Bismillah. As being Muslims, as being humans, and being a social justice community, and I don't want to alienate out our Sunni friends, but I'm going to say specifically the Shia. The Shia, the Ahl Tawheed wal Adl, the people of justice, of divine unity and justice. Some people forget this is also one of the titles that we use. Not just, the lovers of Ahl Bayt. One, if we really believe in that, and that's in our understanding of our usul, the usul al-din. This is a little bit different than how our Sunni brothers phrase it, and sisters. But our two components of that stands out: the issue of, usul al-madhab, of the issue of adl, of being only second into tawheed, of the most important matter, justice. We stand by that. We claim this. If we are the community of justice, then where are we out on the streets right now? Where is the Shia? Where is our voice? Where are we being? If the Ahl Bayt are the ark that the Prophet told us to hold to during the flood of life, then we're out of Shia right now of being the ark to the masses of the poor and the oppressed. If we really believe and say about it and do about it. But as all things, it is about our intention. As being Muslims, it's always about our niyyah. How we reflect first, as even though not in the formal salat of standing and bowing, but how we always make a niyyah to Allah, and our intentionality is in all things that we do should always be a spiritual struggle, or align with that spiritual struggle. So, but I'm saying right now, in this time, we can all say, what's the you know better, Sheikh, than me. The hadith that the Prophet said, the three ways of responding to issue is first, do it with your hand. If you can't do that, then do it with your tongue. And if last, then it is about your intention. I would make an argument right now that if the Prophet was living today and he saw how we're so distracted with so many things, so many gadgets, so many toys and things, which is intentional to keep you, amazed at the glitz and glitter that we watch on entertainment tonight. Keep you confused, keep you delusioned. I think the Prophet would say, actually, no, the struggle is actually have been normally been placated, that it is actually the reverse. It's just a struggle for us to make the niyyah, the intention that we recognize just injustice, not to the point that we have to have these extreme images. Don't get a fool. This is happening day to day. This is like my brother saying, Gangstar, man, this is a daily operation. Right? That's why black people are so traumatized, because it's constant. You may not see it every day on the news, but for those who live in the hood or who got family in the hood, and we get the reports back from our cousins, so forth, this is every day. So don't get it to like, man, why these black people are really freaking out? It's like, wow, no, but it's constant trauma on us. To be black in America, and let me add this, to be black and Shia in America is to be in a constant state of rage. Right? So if we're about that, how do you make the niyyah? What I need people to do now is not just to make the niyyah that you're against injustice. People have to be vocal with their niyyah. Make it your heart to Allah, but also say it. Put it out there. Make yourself a commitment in public that you stand against injustice, that you stand against anti-black, anti-African racism, and also be against sexism and patriarchy and other things. But right now, this issue is dictating the agenda. This is the moment at hand. So put yourselves out there, or you as part of collective bodies and groups and organizations and part of masjids, especially if you're paying your dues at a mosque, a Khoja-related mosque and a Simco-related mosque or imam, you need to say, well, I'm part of this body of people here in Detroit or whatever. It's like, well, what are we doing? Have we raised our voice? Have we made a public statement? Have we joined in with our black Sunni brothers and sisters in the inner city at their masjids and said, I'm with you. We're making our statement against this type of oppression externally, and even so, more importantly, to say, amongst, again, I'm speaking to the Shia right now, what are the shortcomings in our own community? What are the shortcomings in our own masjids? What are the shortcomings in our own networks? Why have we not seen when the larger Shura Council of Southern California has put out a statement with 50 masjids and none of them are Shia on it? Well, I'm not saying that's the case, or maybe I haven't looked at their list right now. Why have we not heard voices and people speak up? I don't need Sheikh Jaffa, I don't need Sheikh Muhabbillah. I don't need, brother, Hisham Adaween to speak about against racial injustice. I know where they're coming. They're black men and there's black women. But I need to know. I need to know where my Desi and my Persian and my Arab brothers and sisters who claim to be my brothers in deen. I mean, for sure you are my brothers and sisters in humanity. But I need you also in deen, in this, again, tawheed or adl. How are we saying that? How do you make that to look internally, the shortcomings, and say, we are going to start correcting this. We have the immediate issue right now at hand, but also where are we going to start saying critically, where are we going forward into the future to purge ourselves of the sickness of internal racism, internal biases, internal elitism, internal shaitani systems. Again, I know it's no one on this call, but unfortunately, sometimes the people who got the message about this event, they were like, I don't need to be on there. This is not about me. It's not my community. It's not out my vanilla suburb. So one, those two things: make the intention. Where do you make the statement? Where's your mosque? Where's your MSA? They're standing with it, and then start doing the work. And we can talk more about that in another discussion. But then three, I would say, and again, as I said, back to the arc, reaching out. It doesn't even have to be about black Muslims, but how are you in our centers reaching out to the black student associations, or to the NAACP, I don't care, the NAACP, the Urban League, or whatever, or even then to the working Muhammad community, to the Dar al-Islam community in your community. If you don't know what these are, Call me, I'll tell you. Call Sheikh Hisham Al-Dawi, we'll tell you about them. Even reach out to our brothers with the Nation of Islam, who I'm so associated with. Man, even then we may have issues of Aqidah and all this, but right now on a public policy level, it's a Lhasa issue of public good. This is not the time we start fighting about, brother, their Aqidah is not so straight. Look, if Minister Carlos is out there, Baltimore, holding it down with black people, and he says that he's Muslim right now for the public good, you stand with Minister Carlos. You get down with Minister, Sultan Muhammad in Chicago. You call them up. You tell them I sent you. You do that. If that's who's near you, you get down with that. Or you call our brothers the Worthy Muhammad community, or you call the people in the Dar or the MSAs. Call up our brothers and sisters in the HBC. There is a HBCU, Muslim Student Association. Sultan, get on that. You're on this call. What are they doing right now? You tell them, you get back to us and say how they're going to start putting up some programs in the coming months that if these Ahlul-Bayt societies, if the Taha collectives, the Shia groups, which are mostly Desi and Arabs on these college campuses, they want to be down and they don't like being part of the MSA National for various reasons, well, you call HBCU MSAs. You tell them I sent you. You know Sultan. Some of y'all know Sultan. So that's what I'm saying. I'm going to say right now, hey, Sheikh Faiyaz, I'm going to be real.
Please, it's yours. It's yours. Please go ahead.
I'm focused on the youth right now. You see this. Your beard is all black.
It's getting a little bit gray.
And I know that's not that Roshan, you color it in, but it's still natural. My focus right now is on the youth. And I want to thank all the youth. But as I said, please be patient with me. Be patient with, Sheikh Al-Mekki. Be patient with Sheikh Jafar, Muhibullah. Be patient with Sheikh Sayyid Khulani. Be patient with Hosna Hashim and all the Al-Mekki family and all them as you're calling upon us to start taking this weight. But I'll say this. Not as being a black man, but just being a Shia. Thank you for calling me. I'm very happy. I've heard so many calls from Iraqi youth. I've heard so many calls from Khoja youth. I'm getting calls from saying, yes, we want to be allies. I'm thankful for that. But what it says to me is, I have failed you. I'm man enough to admit it. I'm Shia enough to admit it. I have failed you. If you're 25, if you're Sheikh Faiyaz or younger, I have failed you. I failed Sheikh Faiyaz. Because what we're seeing right now in our Shia communities, if we're not recognizing, for those who are my age or older, they're calling me because I'm putting myself out there, but also because the way they're talking to me, asking for guidance, is because I failed them. They have not been prepared for how to deal with the situation. Our masjids, our Imam Bargas, our Husseinias, and many of our sheikhs, our alims, though they have done so much good work in trying to make sure we do have the spiritual armor that protects us, at least we're in the masjid, but we have not translated that to the streets, into the communities. So I've spent the past 15 years of my life, people know me, they know I've put it down for the Muslim community hard on the national level of who we are on Capitol Hill in front of the president. And I've had, and I've trained, I've had over 40 interns over the past 15 years that I've trained to help them become advocates and lobbyists. And some of them have returned back to DC and are advocates and lobbyists on social justice issues. They're not working for Big Pharma. They're not working for tobacco. They're not working for APEC. They're working for humanitarian organizations. But you know where they're working? They're not working in Muslim organizations. But there's nothing wrong with that. But what it is I have to say is, I have never yet had one Shia intern where I've invested my time into that. As I just said that, I have failed my goddaughter, Jane Jabori. I'm trying to rapidly make up for what I've been doing for the past 15 years and not done what I need to do to two communities, the Shia community and the black community, the black Muslim community. It's a package in me. I never had one black Muslim intern. And I'm not saying I'm the answer to everything or the solution, but we got resources in my organization and we've trained out. The majority of my interns now for the past 5 years have been non-Muslim. I need to start focusing back and committing my resources, my time, my knowledge that I know I've gained and benefit from Christian and Jewish mentors and with an Islamic belief, and they give me the platform. I need to start investing back in the community where, for various reasons, we're marginalized out. We're not in these spaces. And I say that too. I call upon all you who are my age, with the gray, male or female, who claim to be a leadership, that you're misogynists or you're non-bargas or you're professional Shia networks. We have failed the youth, or most of us have. At least as a body, as a collective as a whole. But what I do recognize is these youth, they are taking leadership. I failed them in the sense that they're not active. They are agitating. They are being part of Amnesty International. They are being part of Oxfam. They are joining in with NAACP and other groups, and they should be. There's things to learn from there. And to gain skills, but they're not being given the guidance, the resources, the tools from our understanding as Shia of also to use it as their frame. Yeah, I got all these books behind me that I learned from, but always the frame, the foundation, the criteria is the Quran and the teachings of our Ahlul Bayt, so that I can understand it. But we can learn from other things. But if we don't start investing back. They are already moving. They're leaving us behind. So I'm actually saying to you is we need to save ourselves. I'm 45. I'm 45. I stay youthful. I stay young. Being time will do keeps you young sometimes, right? And then listen to the youth, and a little bit of hip hop culture too keeps you on. That's my ability to still keep it real. Besides riding public metro in DC. But not to be flippant or joking, but we're failing, and I want to say right now, I'm not apologizing for any other network, for any other sheikh, or any of them, or any other group, whether it be the Syndico, Ummah, Muslim Congress, or whatever. I'm saying for me, I have failed you because I have not been consistently enough with our prophet. What our imams are is, first and foremost, they're not leaders. What they are is they're servants. They were constantly investing back to those who were coming behind them. Imam Ali were at the cave, and at that moment, all the way through, the Prophet was investing into his leadership and guidance and training into Imam Ali. That is the prophetic mission. So I'll say this, and I hope maybe some of our, I've said this a couple of times in different meetings. Our good brother, Imam Warthi Muhammad. For those who don't know, the Imam who led after the demise and passing of Elijah Muhammad in the Nation of Islam moved nearly 1 million African American Muslims into, lack of better term, Orthodox Islam or Sunni Islam. That's a positive thing. Look, man, my family, the few Muslims my family are in the nation. That's why I'm close to the nation. Because that's my cousins. That's my family. That's who I first knew as Muslim. And they loved me. It was those black hands that held me. So, Imam Warthi Muhammad said that there is an operational definition of leadership. And the operational definition of leadership is constant reproduction of leadership. So if you think, whether it's your MSA or it's your Masajid, or your national level network at Mainstay, or wherever you at, whatever all these different kind of Shia networks. And I work with all of you. I love you all. You all got a wonderful role, but we have stepping on what we need to invest into the youth for these past 20 years. But if we're not training and investing the youth with the little bit that we've learned and that I've learned here in DC and from so many other people, if I'm not constantly reinvesting back, then I'm not a leader. At the best, and this is happening, I'm just a dictator. And we don't need none of that. We don't need dictators anymore. We don't need Black President of America, Jesse Jackson, for those who know, you understand what I'm saying. We don't need just one person who's hanging on too long with it. Too many people don't want to pass on the torch at their masjids or their imam bargas and so forth. So I'm project for myself. I'm making myself committed to invest, particularly into the youth, how we organize, because I have failed you and I recognize it, and I am shamed by that. And I ask for those who are my age or older, join in there in recognizing that. And I ask the youth right now, Sultan and all you other young folks who are part of the Ahlul-Bayt societies and Ma'aruf conferences and Taha collectives, you know what I want? This is what I need you to do. There's a lot of things we need to do. But I need you to start networking. Get your WhatsApp groups and all that. Two things we need. But first and foremost, call it out. Start having listening sessions amongst yourselves as youth, 25 and under, and saying how Jihad and the leadership have failed us. We need negative and positive statements. Tell us how we have failed you, particularly as what you're learning from other institutions there and the other social justice collectives on your college campuses, and you're getting the languages and the critical theories from other places, but you're not getting it from us. Tell us how we failed you that way. I want to know. I want to know more clearly from a loving perspective, from a critical statement made in love back to me as an adult, as a senior member of this community, how we have failed you. And we'll send that to Simcoe, and we'll send that to Iman, and we'll send that to Muslim Congress, and we'll send that to Ummah, we'll send to all of them, and I'll stand behind you on it. You write it as it is, and I won't edit anything, and I'll stand with you once you do that. The next 2 or 3 weeks, y'all work together, start shooting emails to my Roof Conference and Taha Club, say, I want to be part of that process as the young Shia of how we failed you. But then what I need you to do is then within the next couple of weeks after that, I need you to start formulating, well, what do you want from us? If we got the money, if we got the facilities, if we got the resources, if I got it, then tell me how I need to not lead you, but how can I at least facilitate, provide you the resources, the connections. We don't need to just learn from Black Shia or Shia. We can also learn from other leaders from other communities and so forth to bring and speak and train us in community organizing and critical theory thinking that's grounded at least in a faith tradition from our Christian brothers from liberation pedagogy, and see what that looks like for as a Muslim. Keep reading the Shariati too. Please start reading Shariati. So that's what I meant. Yes. You don't need permission from me to tell you to do this. I know you probably are thinking that, but I'm actually saying I want you to critique me. I want you to tell me where I failed you. I'm Shia enough to know that is part of the healing process to move forward, even in our own communities, to rectify the shortcomings and the gaps in our own community, to make us strong, to be able to respond to the external justices that are in our own Muslim community. Don't think that Black suffering is outside the Shia community. Or brown suffering. It's in our own communities too, in our own masjids. It's not external. So share that with me. I want to hear from you. I want to humble myself. I want to learn from you, as I'm always learning from you. In critical times, I need some tough loving. I need some nasiha from you, because you are already in the move. I need to catch up to you. We need to catch up to you and to give you the support that in framing that you need. And I call upon again the people my age, start passing the baton on. If you ain't down with this ain't your cause. If you don't think this is something that's happening in your vanilla suburbs, step aside. Just pass it on. You ain't helping. But I love you, and I know that's no one on this call. Sheikh Jaffa.
No, thank you, Jihad. Thanks again for speaking from your heart. And again, I think so much of what you're mentioning again is really coming from your from your humility, and that's why we love you so much. Which you actually have done is really really impactful and remarkable, at least for myself, and I can imagine for so many others. I think like a thought that a lot of people are throwing out, like in the chat, and people are messaging me privately as well, like on the Zoom chat and so on, is in regards to kind of how we need to, reevaluate the conversation of everything that is happening in society and see how we can make changes and strides within our local communities. And I think that question is a problem in and of itself, because we don't need Jihad or anyone else to tell us what we need to do internally in the Khoja community or in the Pakistani community or in the Arab community or in the Afghan or in the whatever ethnic community we come from. We know if we have racist tendencies, I don't need to burden my brother Jihad to tell me that you need to fix this problem amongst yourselves within your own home, right? And so much of this idea of just spiritually, we just recited Dua Command, one of the lines is Rabbi inni dhalamtu nafsi, oh Allah, I've oppressed my own self. Oh my Lord, I've oppressed my own self. When we are a people who are consistently transgressing internally, we're not going to be a people who are making an impact externally within our communities. You start fixing your heart, your soul, you purify it. That is a very clear and direct mechanism that you will start to make those strides within your own families, within your own mosques, and then out on the streets. And it starts again, with this idea of consciousness and intentionality and niyyah, like you mentioned before, Jihad, that, that famous hadith of the Prophet, that if you see injustice taking place, then, raise your hand. And if you can't raise your hand, you speak with your tongue. And if you can't speak with your tongue, then at the very least, that you despise it in your heart. Where you can raise your hand in smaller gatherings, right? Or speak out with your tongue, with your family, or, in small settings, like Jihad mentioned earlier. And that's an incumbent responsibility that we don't need anyone else to tell us that, because we should be at the forefront. And I know a lot of people, and I'm sure you've been making the rounds, Jihad, having these conversations like you mentioned yesterday, how many people are reaching out to you, from the Shia community and probably all across the board about, what can they do like in their respective mosques and so on. And I think that's out of your grace and out of your love for community that you're going out and doing those things. But if I could just, assert my, sheikh title for just one moment and say that, if you already know what the problem is in the community, why do you need to ask someone else? You need to go fix it yourself. If I see a leak in my apartment building, either I go and fix it myself, or I go and get a plumber to fix it. I'm not going to look at it and then look online. Is that a leak? What does a leak look like? I already see a problem in my house. So we need to go and fix that problem then, right?
Yeah.
And it's not about utilizing what is happening every day in the streets with systemic racism, with police brutality, with the anti-Blackness that we're seeing societally, to say, okay, now is a time when I need to revisit it in my mosque, and let me take away from that which is happening in societal, a socio-political struggle, and say, okay, let me start making criticisms of my mosques now. Go and fix it. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, Jihad.
You are. But I'll say yes. You, as human beings, first and foremost, and as Muslims and as Shia, you don't need me to co-sign off on you making a statement. You don't need to wait. You don't need to wait. And this is not a critique. We need to love our Marja. We need them for guidance. But you don't need to wait to hear from Grand Ayatollah Sistani or the Rahba in Iran to make a statement against anti-Black racism before you're willing to make a statement yourself. We don't need, as a Black man, I value that. I thank them for doing that. That's cool. But I don't need to wait for a message from outside the country as thinking that somehow the Shias have to wait to hear guidance from the people at the top of the ulama pyramid. If you just don't know already in your heart and from the written testament that's inside of you that Allah has given you, called our consciousness as human beings, to know that what you see is wrong and it demands action, man, have we been trained? Man, look. There's nothing more trained than a soldier, but who's controlling your mind if you feel you gotta wait to get a cosign off for someone else? I need you to step up. Yeah, I don't need you to wait here, be channeled and directed to hear the lament and pain of Black people in your own community, to be social justice advocates. Again, no one on this call is like that. I know that. I value that. But again, keep that lens in there. In future situations, and it may be next day, it may be an issue that we're dealing with, gender oppression, or the oppression for many of those who are out there in Canada who may be joining, or even in America, the Navajo people, they're dying from COVID, and they don't even have water. It may be the First Nations. How are you responding? There's all types of racism. Don't wait to hear from a Native American to tell you that they're oppressed for you to finally say, yes, we need to stand against it. Step up. That's what being an ally is. Being an ally is taking lead and sometimes speaking from your heart as best you can, not to steal who I am or try to, steal racial positioning, but give me a little time to regroup. So yeah, you don't need to co-sign. And that's my, and I'm being real with you. That's how I'm feeling a little bit. The anxiety that we're feeling. I know that some of my black Shia ulama brothers have been a little slow on responding on some of these issues, but believe me, it's because this is heavy. This is daily operation. And two, let's be real, there is very few black Shia majority masjids. Most of our Shia alims who are black are not the spiritual caregivers to black majority congregations. And again, ask yourself, I thank you for those who have taken on a black alim, a black sheikh to be ahead of your Arab or Desi majority. That's huge. That don't even happen in the Sunni community. Let's be real. But there's also, we know sometimes maybe a constraint on what, again, not you on this call, but who's pulling the strings, who controls the monthly stipend that's paying for them every day to live. And they're saying, oh, don't get too political, or don't talk about this black, Malcolm X, he was Sunni, he wasn't Shia, so why are you talking about Malcolm X? I've heard this. This is the nonsense I've heard. In my 28 years of being Shia, I've heard that crap. You offend me when people say that. Not you, none of you on this call. But it's out there. If you hate, if that makes you regurgitate, if you can imagine someone who would say that, this brother who died for us because he loved you so, whether you're black, brown, or whatever, because he was Muslim, and he knew he had to put himself in that line of fire between the Mustasafin, the oppressed, and the oppressor. This is our Abu Dar. This is our Abu Dar. If you don't know who Abu Dar is, Sheikh Faiyaz is working on the lecture for you. I know he is. And if you don't know who Abu Dar is, yes, we always uplift the Imam, the Prophet Imams, and rightfully so. Imam Hussein, the Prophet Imam Ali, or even what we imagine what our responsibility is to Imam al-Zaman, as we should be trying to bring them forth. But if you're that in the mindset, it's like, well, but these are Masoom, I can never be that. Well, read up on Abu Dar, read up on Shariati, read up on Abu Dar, and ask yourself why even in our masajids, they don't talk about Abu Dar. I'm not even talking about the Sunnis. I'm not even talking about the non-Muslims. I'm not talking about even most of the Shias. Why don't you hear about Abu Dar? And if you need somebody that's too far long ago from you, 1,400 years ago, then read Malcolm. This is Abu Dar from America. In times like this where we need clear delineation, clear line of what side you're on, no half-stepping, like our brother Big Daddy Kane said. There is no either or. Sometimes there is required to almost to a radical fault. You have to declare that you are against injustice. You need to speak out. You need to call it even if it puts you. We've all read the Quranic verse that says to speak for truth, even if it is against your own family, against your own friends, or it may even injure you in your own economic position of privilege. Yeah, I live in privilege. I'm not gonna lie. I got degrees. I got all that. My mom worked real hard to get. I am because when my son made the sacrifices to give me where I can live with a little comfort. But I got cousins. I got cousins locked up. I got other cousins who just died a week ago. They don't even have money to bury them. Black people in the hood. These are the black hands. These are the black faces that we don't, as black people, we don't need mirrors in our home to know that we're beautiful. We don't need to watch TV, because if we watch TV, we don't think we'll hate ourselves. We love ourselves because the mirrors that we have is the own face of the black mothers and fathers and uncles and aunties that we have. So while I am able to, I guess I am right, I'm centering my blackness right now. As Malcolm said, I don't care what religion you call me or what I practice. If my religion is not responding to my needs as a black man in America right now, then that's a religion I don't need. So, and I need to know who's down. I'll respect you. I respect you if you say it's not my fight. It's just not my place right now. I'm not gonna be on the. I'm not telling women to go storm the barracks right now. I'm not telling you to pick up any. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I'm not telling you to pick up a weapon or throw a rock at the police or anything like that right now. I'm not saying this. Malcolm. Again, Malcolm. When was Malcolm ever actually associated with any acts of violence? Right. What I'm saying to you, but we do need to delineate and be clear about where we stand and our positioning, calling out the taghouts in very real terms, and calling upon our leaders to give guidance, and us working hard as we can. If you need a model for that, read Abu Dhar, but also read Abu Dhar to understand what the consequences may be of that. Abu Dhar, you live alone, you die alone, you will rise alone, and you will enter paradise alone. This is what the Prophet said to Abu Dhar. But if the Prophet said it, that means it's a blessing then. That is a good thing. And I bet, even though it sounds so sad, I bet that gave solace to Abu Dhar when at least he said, you will enter paradise alone. Because at least he knew that Abu Dhar always stayed principled. To a fault sometimes. Yes, you can only bend the bone so fast sometimes with certain people. You got that hikmah. Sometimes, in times right now, this is not a time to be soft or be unclear on where you stand against injustice and what you need to do and what you need from those with resources, with some knowledge, and so forth. And again, I failed you, tell me how I failed you, and tell me how I can help you to do better and how I can be resourced here in my time, my limited capacity here in DC.
When you were talking, you reminded me of this famous anecdote. During the time of the caliphate of Imam Ali alayhi salam, there was a lady. Well, there was a news that one of the ministers of Imam Ali came to him and told him that there's a lady in Kufa who had her anklet bracelet stolen. So the Imam alayhi salam said, "Tell me a little bit more about what happened. How could this happen under my governance, under my lead, under my leadership?" To which they told him that it was a Christian lady who was walking and somebody came and stole her anklet bracelet. And Imam Ali, he says in his famous line that I would not be surprised if a believer dies upon hearing this tragedy. So they said, like, "Oh Ali, like what? It's just a piece of jewelry, and it's for someone who's not even a Muslim." Which as the Imam Ali salam often would in these situations, he would, is that not a human being?
Mm-hmm.
So keeping in mind that when someone says that like this issue is not my issue because this is not my community, number one, they're divorcing themselves of humanity, right? Number two, they are completely so distant from the religious tradition of what we've been taught to by our teachers and our leaders. And number three, it's really, really telling and an opportunity for someone to self-reflect when they tell themselves that this is not my fight, or this is not my issue, or this doesn't concern me, or I don't know what's happening. So Jihad, let me close it with this, or I'm going to let you close it with this, since we're approaching the time of prayers, at least here in New York. Can you give us some insight in terms of maybe some literature to read, or we need to be better listeners more than anything else? So how can I do that as your friend and as your brother, and that if there's anything, I'll often reach out to you. So before maybe everyone else is a lot more educated, a lot more sincere than I am, but so tell me, what is something that I should be doing in terms of reading, listening, getting educated on the matters, so that I'm able to again be someone who is hopefully making an impact in my community.
Sure. Thank you for that. There is kind of like this trend going on. Some of these webinars are saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to end out with what book are you reading?" That's good. I'm happy. Thank you for asking that. First, look, I'm not the qualified one. Yes, we do need to read Quran, and we need to hear the examples of the Imams, and we need those packaged in the areas we need to. What's most relevant, the passages. We need to hear from you, Sheikh Faiyaz. We need to hear from Sheikh Jafar Muhibullah. Even our good brother, he doesn't like using Sheikh, but even brother Hassan Abdul Kareem, who spent just the past few years at the seminary, the Shia seminary in Chicago, to get the religious knowledge. But he's a street soldier. He's a community organizer. He's out in the streets, organizing the people. And he's got that example from his grandfather in LA, the first majority black Shia center in Los Angeles, Shia Rasul. So if you don't know about Nasr al-Rasul or the Nasr al-Rasul Foundation, go online, learn about it. Los Angeles, Houston, Chicago, and they're trying to open up other chapters about, a grassroots community organizing model for Muslims in inner community areas, you know, particularly but grounded in the Black Shia tradition. So I raised that. We have people like Sheikh Jafar Muhabballah, who's like, if he's not Muslim now, he's like on the cusp of it. This dude is very learned. I think he was only like a year behind Sheikh Suleiman Hassan in his studies, and he just became Muslim like last year. So we got black alims to learn from, but it just has to be, it's not about blackness. You know, truth is truth. Knowledge is knowledge from Allah. All truth comes from Allah. And we need to hear different voices. But if you need to know, then what are some practical things that right now in this dunya that we need? My couple of suggestions are, there's great resources already in the Muslim community first, but we don't have to only point to Muslim voices. But if you need to, and I know they're probably getting way more demand now than they've ever had, but Muslim anti-racist collective, Marguerite, and so forth, I'm sure they got a whole lot of demand now for them to do trainings, webinars. Pay them the fair wage that they deserve. If and when they can do a seminar for your conference or your masjid of saying what is anti-racism could look like, and what does racism look like in the Muslim community, and how do we respond from it? But there's other groups, LDIR in Los Angeles, Leadership Development in Interracial Relations also does this type of training. Why I know? Because I used to get a facilitator from them. You do good work. Call them up. There's all types of there's racial training, critical lenses that you can use. Don't just confine yourself to the Muslim, because sometimes these concepts are even more developed outside the Muslim community. So I want to say these are some groups you should look for guidance on developing these lenses. And these people do this for a living. We need to support them. We need to make sure that they're able to continue to do this teaching and training in our communities. But if you want to ask, and that's for older, younger, pretty much. But if I have to say right now, and many of you joining me this past week, when we had, again, Brother Hassan Abdul Karim talking about when he went to Minnesota, was on the ground of Minnesota, but even, you know, he's African-American shit like me. But he reached out to our brother Imam Makram Al-Amin from the Wafdi Muhammad community in Minnesota, who's also head of the larger Shura Council of Masjids in the greater, Minnesota area. Was it neighborly needs, the friendly neighbor, right? At least the social service arm of Masjid al-Nur, where Imam Makram is the imam. This is my imam. I'm not scared to say that I have Sunni imams who are my imams who teach, because again, they stand for.
Our good brother Muhammad Sabur didn't give us know, who's also been active in helping the Shia community that are in the suburbs, but to be allies with Masjid al-Nur, with Imam Makram. And he also reached out then to also the Somali community, because so many of the black skin and the people in Minnesota are African, are Somali brothers and sisters. Probably don't know the difference when they hit me on the head. We all look black. We all look like Mike Tyson, I guess, right? But that's what a community organizer does. She doesn't go into, or she doesn't.
To be a servant. How can I gain your trust? I may have some skills and resources. How can I be of help to you? You know what you face. You know what you need. You know how you want to respond, but you may not have the critical capacity, the resources, the tools to do all of it. How can I give you what I have? And let me first hear from you. Let your center become my center. So I say that because it was just a very small way of hearing when we listened to our brother Hassan about when he spent those few days along with brother Carl Trent and out and being on the streets with the people, and also the engagement with the Muslim communities there, how to respond. I'd say to the youth in particular, if you want to skill and what you need to start developing while you're on the college campuses and while you're young and maybe back to grad school, start training yourselves as community organizers. Reach out to groups like the United States Student Association. It sounds like a fake group, but no, it is. It's been around for like 100 years or 50 years. USSA, they have an office here in DC. They do trainings on campuses called grassroots organizing trainings at universities. Where did I first start learning about grassroots organizing? When I was at UCLA. When the Black Student Association, the African Student Association that I'm part of, brings them out every I'm here to train us, the Latino and the Black and the Asian and the progressive groups, of how to be community organizers, so we can get our butts off the UCLA campus to go out to the communities, to be, again, servants to the communities where we're from. Not to get all highfalutin, high-minded, thinking that, because I got myself a college degree and I'm up at sitting up in Westwood, that I'm somehow, bourgeois Negro. Yeah, we have privilege, but what do you do with that privilege? What are you doing with those accesses, those resources? And it was the means of community organizing that helped us understand how we could take it back, not to be a leader, to be a servant. So again, start thinking about how you, in your Ahl-based societies, in your Taha collectives, in your culture Jamaat student groups, and so forth. And then for the Black ones, it's not saying that all Black people out there learn how to be community organizers, not. But how you're reaching out to even other groups like the Industrial Heirs Foundation. Who's Red? Who's this? Solomonsky. Rules for Radicals. This is like the old school Bible for community organizing in America. From the old school labor style organizing coming out of Chicago. For those who are in Chicago, you know Solomonsky, organizing people in the backyards and so forth. Faith in Action used to be called PICO, P-I-C-O. Now it's called Faith in Action. This is the community organizing network nationwide that trains faith-based congregations. They teach churches and synagogues, and particularly the Black churches, how to develop community organizers. I talked to some of them like 5 years ago, and I said, hey, how many masjids are in the national network? And they're like, less than 1%. That's a problem. Sunni, Shia, Black, Arab basis, that's a problem. That's a problem. If you're imam, if you're sheikh, if you're alim, and I'm not trying to put the way these single individuals can't do everything in the mosque. You need to delegate, but they have not. If they haven't been, besides these for the Shia, we expect them to have some study on or mosque and all these things. But just the way the imam and mama, it does not make them a leader. They may be leaders to learn, but they're not the leaders on how to respond sometimes on these streets. So if they haven't been trained in two things, family, parental and marriage counseling is one, because we need that counseling in our communities, domestic violence and abuse and all that. And then two, if they not have year at my masjid.
I think we lost you. The connection is sort of in and out the last seconds. Still with us?
And then get your masjids involved with Industrial Heirs Foundation or PICO and start learning these. These are skills. There's prophetic traditions that we need to understand through the codes in here. And if you need to be when you go to LA, go visit Imam Mujahid Abdul Kareem. When you're in Chicago, go down to Southside and visit Sheikh Hassan Abdul Kareem to ask them how they're using a community organizing model in their programming. This is what we need. These will be applicable skills for you for the rest of your life. And then again, how are you train, like Imam Wafi Muhammad said, how are you training those skills back into our communities and back into our youth? That's what that is the agenda. Thinking long term, community organizing in our communities, building power and being servants. Khalas.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, there's a lot of people reaching out to me via email or via chat and message and email. Is it okay if I pass on your contact to them?
Please, you can find me also. You can reach me at Black Jihad. It's not some radical. This is because when I was in Los Angeles many years ago, there was like 3 prominent jihads. One was Arab. Actually, there was another one was Black, but he was out of town for many years. Sheikh Jafar Safir, my imam now from Israel. So people would say, "Oh, are you talking about the Arab jihad or the Black jihad?" That's what it means. It's not because I'm some terrorist organization, and that's just my handle. But my handle actually used to be Abu Dhar, but I changed to Black Jihad. And then if you can also find me, then yes, you can get my email. You can find me at Jihad F Saleh on Facebook, and if you look up on LinkedIn, you can find me as my work name, Jihad Saleh Williams. You know, when I'm talking with the white man, I have to put the Williams on it. It helps make them feel more comfortable, I guess. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Jihad. I'm also going to ask you to send me over those trainings, and if you can send them, I can also send them out to folks, inshallah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Well, I want to thank everyone. Thank you for joining. And first, you know, I just want to say, if anyone right now, let's center this, especially during this COVID. I pray of you. I didn't say this shit is first. Belated Eid Mubarak to all you. Let's make us be happy amongst ourselves. We're still in that season. And I hope that Ramadan was a blessed time for all you and your families. And over these past 10 to 12 weeks, I pray that you and your families, all of you, have been in good health and good spirits. And for those of us that we know, even in our Muslim communities, even in the diversity of our Muslim communities, or even those who are Muslim and have non-Muslim family, if any of your family members have been afflicted by the COVID or died because of COVID, let us pray that Allah forgives their people their shortcomings and grant them Jannah. And if anyone just has been suffering from any ailment during this time, please Allah give them good, secure, strong, rehab and development. But again, if we lost lives, my empathy, my heart goes out to you. Let's pray for them, and let's pray for God to give calm families and understanding. Ultimately, still, in His divine wisdom, there is a meaning that we must learn from this and move forward. And if there's any way that we can best represent those who have died from COVID or from systemic racism and domination, the best way we honor those is through the social justice work that we do, through our prayers to Allah and through our social justice work, to hopefully remove that no one else has to experience these ailments, these pains, these dominations. So I thank you for your concern. Thank you for all those who have been to me and the handful of other Black Shia networks, Islamic Spiritual Awakenings and so forth. We thank you for your concern and wanting to be allies. We do value that. And we will, inshallah, as a Shia community, as a Muslim community, as a human community, we will all get back beyond this. But into that process, may we bring forth the Imam, to those good days that we all look forward to. And brother Faiyaz, thank you for being a brother. Thank you for inviting me on this time. I look forward to being with you again.
Thank you so much. Allah bless you.
Yeah, man. I love you. Everyone, do well. Assalamu alaikum.
Take care, man. See you, inshallah. Thank you, everyone. Inshallah, we'll continue program next Thursday. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa salam.